Welcome to the Dope Sheets, just one guy's opinion. I'm Wayne Demers, and I'm here to review Eternals, the latest Marvel Studios movie that is not quite what you think it is. So let's get into it real quick. It's rated PG-13. It's released in IMAX and in Standard Edition. I did see it in Standard Edition this week. The movie runs 2 hours and 37 minutes, so you're definitely going to get plenty of time to enjoy your popcorn, your concessions, and whatnot. There is a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene, both that I think kind of set up the sequels that they'll or even spin-offs. So one of the things, this movie was released outside the United States, I think 2 weeks ago. And if you follow anything with movies, it's been getting mediocre reviews. Rotten Tomatoes initially had it as fresh, and then quickly it dove down to below 60%. And I believe at the time that I record this, it's sitting at 52%, which is considered rotten. I don't think the movie's rotten. I think that people went in with the expectation of seeing a hero film because that's what we're used to seeing from Marvel movies. But what we're really getting is more of a modern interpretation of the gods of Olympus. That's how I interpreted it. So I think that's how people kind of got probably let down in this. The movie was directed by Chloe Zhao. She is cutting her teeth in the industry. I would say this is her big director debut, although she's been critically acclaimed with some of the movies she's done at some of the other movie, what do they call them? Not cons, but she has some movies that she's done that weren't big time releases, and they were getting a lot of positive critical acclaim. And she's also a writer, and she is a contributing writer to this film. So I think a lot of people are on the fence with her, and maybe even kind of fault her for some of the shortcomings of this film. There's a lot of story. Okay. A lot of story. And I feel like this movie needed a lot of story because if you're going to do some spin-offs and continuation, you really needed a solid foundation. So I think future films are going to refer back to this movie clearly. And over time, this movie will be looked at in a more positive light than what we're seeing right now. So the cast is large, okay, because it stars Gemma Chan as Cersei, Richard Madden as Icarus, Angelina Jolie as Athena, Salma Hayek as Ajax, Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, Brian Tyree Henry as Phastos, Leah McHugh as Sprite, Lauren Ridloff as Makari, Barry McCohen as Druig, Ma Dong-seok as Gilgamesh, and Kit Harrington as Dane Whitman. That's a lot of people to be starring. So if anything, I'll say, why don't we take Kit Harrington out of this? Because he's in it. He has his own character lines, in the film, but he is probably in the movie for total screen time might be 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, somewhere around there. So I wouldn't say he's starring in it. Great cast. Okay. I mean, I just don't know how often we see a movie with this level of actors in it. Okay. So I don't know how we can go from getting a rotten score with a cast as highly accredited as these people are and it's just not do too well at the box office. Well, I shouldn't say it's got the whole weekend. I only saw it on Thursday, but we're hearing that it's not going to do so well. So My suggestion is when you go, if you decide to go see this movie, don't look at it as you're going to see a superhero film. Okay? Just look at it as you're going to see a film about aliens that have come to Earth and have been here for thousands of years. There's a purpose for them being here. And they reunite to complete their mission here on Earth. That's how I'll put it, because I'm afraid to give too much detail because I feel like it may ruin a couple things. So that's how I would look at it as just some aliens that look like humans, and they are Earth's protectors in a way. Okay. So my likes. I thought the costume design, excellent. I mean, I enjoyed that we didn't see your stereotypical symbol on the chest with a cape and the boots and whatnot. This was different because they all share a similar style of costume, or maybe I should say not style, but a theme, which makes sense because they all come from this one ship. Which was pretty neat interpretation of a spaceship as well. I liked that too. Casting. Can't talk enough about the casting because there's really no one that let me down. However, the one person that you may not have recognized in the list that I provided was Leah McHugh. She must be new. I don't know much about her. I think that I didn't care for her just because they gave her a ragtag appearance in the film. Her character's name is Sprite, so maybe that's why they were trying to go with this Tinkerbell type disheveledment at times. I don't know. I just really thought her character was out of place. Not that she's a bad actress, but just I don't know what she could do with the role. I just didn't care for the character. Really enjoyed the diversity of the casting. I enjoyed, but I think that was extremely deliberate because, as you see through the story, the cast is they find themselves all over the world, and so that would be they represent different cultures. So the diversity of the cast, I feel, was very intentional, but I certainly did enjoy it. Angelina Jolie. So I thought at first it was kind of odd that she was in this film because she's such a big name draw in Hollywood. And for her to share the screen with so many people, I thought the casting was just odd. However, once we get into the movie and once we kind of get into some of the battle scenes, I mean, she just nails it. And why does she nail it? Because she's got so much experience with that type of a role, a leading woman role, one full of action. She nails it. In fact, during the movie, I happened to notice some of her superhero poses, and I'm like, by far, she's got the best poses. You know, when she's standing there, she is totally, I don't know how to put it other than maybe voguing it out, I guess. She has very good screen presence as always, which I think is difficult for some of the co-stars that she has because sometimes you don't have good on-screen presence with somebody who has established themselves as having extremely good screen presence, such as Angelina Jolie. Which brings me to the next thing I liked, which was Richard Madden. Now, you may know him from Game of Thrones. That's about the only thing I can really place him. Really liked his character in Game of Thrones. And spoiler, his character dies in Game of Thrones. And I was really disappointed because I really enjoyed him. And I really enjoyed his character. And I really enjoy him in this film because he can hold the screen well with anybody on the cast. I also enjoyed his character and hope that we see him in future films. I'm pretty sure he would be in some spinoff or whatnot. But those are my likes for the film. My dislikes, so Kumail Nanjiani, he's Indian. He's plays more comedic roles in films, and I just felt like, yes, he's Indian, but I felt like we stigmatized him with his culture on screen. Not going to give a spoiler here, other than there's kind of like a Bollywood scene, and it just kind of like, really, this is where we're going to go with the only Indian character that's in, or not the only Indian character, but the main Indian character in this film. So I kind of felt that we stigmatized that, and I was a little disappointed with that. Kit Harrington, his character, I think, is needed in the film to set up his presence in future films. But the letdown is that, like I said, he's probably in the film for no more than 2.5, 3 minutes. That's all total screen time. His character isn't integral to this story, but I believe it will be in the future. The Deviants, that's our villain in this movie. These deviants are all animals, except for one, as we learn closer to the end of the film. And I just felt like the only thing that they're here to do is attack the Eternals. That's basically it. They're not here to rule the earth. They're just here to give the Eternals something to fight. Now, I believe that is explained in the film, why we have a good and a bad. Have to say the beginning was a little bit slow. And so I got caught maybe looking more at costumes and looking at the background, and I wasn't focused on the dialogue of the character that was speaking, that was actually explaining some of this. So, but I believe they explained what their role is on our planet. So, but I just kind of felt like they were just dumb villains, and I didn't particularly care that that is who we were faced off with. And once you learn, why the Eternals are on the planet and the role that the Deviants play, I just kind of felt like you spent your time trying to give purpose to the Eternals, and you really didn't put any layers as to the Deviants. So those are the points that I really didn't care for in the film. And I also mentioned I didn't care for the character of Sprite. It's very stereotypical, as some of the names are. Right away when they mentioned Icarus, right away they talk about how the god, in the Olympic stories, the Greek stories, that's what I'm trying to say, the Greek stories of Icarus, they refer to that. So it's not like they don't know who Icarus is and how he flew too close to the sun. But there are some parallels with the character in the movie and that Greek story. So anyway, overall, I personally enjoyed the movie. I definitely felt the 2.5 hour seated watching that film, just sitting in the theater. But I was not as let down as many others have been let down about going to see it. This is the first opening. This is opening weekend here in the States. And I feel like opening it outside our country, outside the United States, is going to hurt the box office here. And the reason is it's gotten some bad press. Word of mouth is it's not very good. Rotten Tomatoes is showing it as 52% rotten. So I don't know where you go with that, other than I don't know how that motivates people to go and take a chance of spending, $15-17 to go see a movie. Plus whatever else you spend on concessions. So, I mean, had the movie been released in the States first, I think there would have been a lot more people eager to see the film. And I don't necessarily think that we would be having so many poorly viewed perceptions of this movie. Overall, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the stories that are set up and with this film and where they go with it. To me, it seems like if we have the Marvel universe of our superheroes like Spider-Man and Thor and all the Avengers and whatnot, at no time in this movie are they referenced other than the event of Endgame, right? So when Thanos, I believe they mention Thanos, and they talk about, how he got rid of half the population of the country, and then of the world rather, and then everybody was brought back. They reference that. So clearly there are superheroes in this universe of film. However, we never see any of it. There's not much ever mentioned of it. So my feeling is this is going to be a different take. These Eternals are going to have their own story, their own path, and their interaction with superheroes in the traditional Marvel Studios movies, I think, are going to be very limited. That's just my take on it. For those of you that know or don't know much about Eternals, they were a short run series, I believe in late 70s, early 80s, called The Eternals. And then there was a new adaptation done by Marvel early 2000s. So this is not your stereotypical comic book movie because they don't have that pedigree in the long run like you do of all of your Avengers, your Spider-Man, all the characters that we've already been seeing. You don't have a lot of that. So this is new to most of us who don't know anything about the comics. And I don't know anything about those comics. I only knew what it was based on. So I think that's another reason why people feel let down seeing this film is they just think we're getting back into the Marvel universe as we know it, not realizing, I think, that we've kind of shifted gears a little bit. And now there's a little bit more to tell on a side note. And I think that's why we're seeing poor scores for the movie. Again, I enjoyed it. I encourage anybody that likes the Marvel movies to go out and see it. I think you'll enjoy it too. And you may not agree with my opinion, and that's totally okay. I would actually hope if you don't agree with my opinion, you let me know down below in the comments, because maybe you'll open up my eyes to something I didn't see or I kind of ignored a little bit. Overall, though, I'm glad I spent the money, so I encourage everybody to go out there, spend a couple hours in the theater, and just kind of let your worries go, sink yourself or immerse yourself into the screen, and enjoy your day at the theater. And again, if you don't care for my opinion, it's okay. It's just one guy's opinion. Let me know yours in the comments down below.